I will explain my doubts. They're quite simple. But before I do, I'll just say, if you're a goodly parent that moves to adopt a child, first off, God bless you. Secondly, what you ought to know is most kids don't go to adoption without suffering some form of neglect or abuse. If you adopt an abused kid, you are a saintly soul, and you should expect to deal with the fruits of at least neglect, if not abuse. Okay? So God bless all of you adoptive parents out there. That's what we all are. That's why I call us all parish orphans and retrogrades. So if this Pope is a truly holy man, Pope Leo XIV, he ought to well know and understand that Pope Francis literally called those of us who are not perfect by any stretch, but the most faithful ones of us, he called us coprophagiacs and coprophiliacs, shit eaters and people who make love to shit. I didn't know that term before the Holy Father taught it to me, number 266. He was truly abusive. He took away the Latin Mass strictly out of spite. His closest friends say it was strictly out of spite. He put doctrinal error in the AAS. He said that the Argentine bishops had the only correct interpretation of Amoris Laetitia, which was doctrinal error. This Pope is going to have to undo that. We'll talk about that as well. But before I take a brief pause, I would just say you have to. What I always try to do is not to be optimistic. That means you're overshooting the mark. Not to be pessimistic. That means you're undershooting the mark. My goal on this channel is to be perfectly accurate, and I stray from it sometimes. But truth is the goal, not truth plus, which a lot of well-meaning but maybe less bright, or well-meaning but less experienced or less knowledgeable Catholics think you're supposed to be truthful plus about your father. You're supposed to lie about the Holy Father. Well, as long as you're lying and you call that benefit of the doubt, that's not what we're supposed to do. There are Holy Fathers who are likely in hell, okay, in the past. And people know a lot of the last names of the medieval families who gave us really bad Holy Fathers. We don't need to revisit that right now. But there are 100 of them or so are saints. Of the other almost 200, some of them are probably in purgatory. Some of them are probably undeclared in heaven. Some of them are undeclared in hell. There's a lot of evidence. So how to regard the Pope is a big Catholic question. It's a Vatican I question. It's not perfectly clear. The office of papacy, how different do we have to be? And the neophytes to the faith just sounded idiotic yesterday. They were finger wagging, even some of the non-neophytes. Brian Holdsworth,
a lot of the quote unquote trads.
We'll talk about that as we get going in coalition building. But even Brian Holdsworth, I mean, this guy, nice guy. Everyone's like, oh, he's so nice Canadian guy, but he is really taken to school marming people. He's like, no one should be getting on Twitter to talk about the Pope. I, on the other hand, am getting on Twitter to talk about whether or not you're talking about the Pope. We just suffered 12 years of pure, unmitigated abuse. And I'll just come out and say it, and then we'll take a brief pause for a sec. We do know quite a bit about the man elected Pope. We do know quite a bit about Robert Prevost. His kingmakers were the same corrupt cabal of kingmakers who gave us Francis, namely Francis's closest cardinal on the C8, Cardinal Oscar Maradiaga, namely Maradiaga's rising star, Cardinal Supich, the American Church, the most corrupt American cardinal, Father James Martin, outside of the cardinalate, and Austin Ivory, outside of even the presbyterate. He's just a layman. Pope Francis's biographer, undersecretary basically to the Sankt Gallen Mafia, and the papal nuncio, Christophe Pierre, very left. These five guys are the best circulated champions of him at this conclave, and they were before the conclave even began. It wasn't in the popular news so much, but you could find it, and now it's confirmed. That's real evidence of something. Now, evidence doesn't, which you don't understand if you're not a lawyer, I guess I'll address Brian Holdsworth, is There's real evidence that sometimes doesn't meet the mark. You have to assess. If you want if truth is your goal, then you assess the evidence and you're like, okay, does this push us to 51% or 76% clear and convincing evidence, depending on what the standard is? My goal is truth. See, a lot of the people out there, their goal is to be optimistic. My goal is I just want to say nice things about the Holy Father. Well, of course, that's the easiest goal to meet. Some people have the goal, like a lot of Protestants and kind of MAGA secular conservatives, just want to say negative things about Catholicism and the Holy Father. So you are twin images. Just saying nice things about a pope that you don't know as well as I know about him and his electors, or just saying mean things about a pope. Again, these secular conservatives don't know as much as I know about the College of Cardinals or the way that conclaves can very easily be cheated, like they were in 2013. Bergoglio cheated. It looks like he's gonna have gotten away with it, so he was pope. It looks like, but he did cheat. He got away with it. Maradiaga might have been one of those cheaters. There's a lot of evidence for that. I don't want to be accurate plus. I don't want to be accurate minus. I want to be perfectly truth. I love truth. I want to say what the truth is. Truth is a person. It's Jesus. So I don't want to be optimistic. That means you overshoot the mark. I don't want to be pessimistic. That means you undershoot the mark. I don't want to be who was talking smack on Twitter yesterday. Like every Protestant I saw.
Oh yeah, they were just being gross.
They're being nasty.
Yeah. Even
Daily Wire did a really nasty post joking about now we're going to have a pizza bread as the Eucharist, and that's kind of the Protestant and even a sort of Jewish spirit to a joke like that. That's just nasty. But then I don't want to be like Brian Holdsworth. I don't want to say a bunch of inaccurate things to overshoot the mark either. Like he's going to be great. I just want to say what's true. And you guys in this audience have an appreciation for that. So I'm very appreciative for your appreciation of that. I'm appreciative of having an audience like you. I should say that.